Hey guys, today we are going to learn how to graph inequalities with two variables, or linear inequalities. Let's look back to what we've done with inequalities in graphing before. If you were given something like x minus 4 less than negative 9, we learned that we would solve this like an equation. So I would add 4 to both sides, and this would give me x is less than negative 5. So to graph this with one variable, x is less than negative 5, we would go to negative 5 on the number line. If you recall, greater than or equal to or less than or equal to was a closed circle because it was also equal to. But greater than or less than was an open circle. Since this is less than negative 5, it's going to be an open circle. And I asked myself, which numbers are less than negative 5? Is negative 6 less than 5, or is negative 4 less than 5? I know that negative 6 is, so I would shade these numbers to the left. So that's how we would graph inequalities with one variable. Let's move on. These are the steps to solving and graphing inequalities. Number 1, you're going to make sure it's in y-intercept form. Number 2, you're going to use the equation to plot 3 points. Number 3, decide if it's a solid or a dashed line. This is going to be similar to the open or closed circle. If it's greater than, less than, or equal to, it's a solid line. But if it's just greater than or just less than, it's a dashed line. And then last, we're going to pick a point to check for shading. Pause the movie now and copy these 4 steps into your notes. So let's try one. I put the steps on the right hand side. Put in y-intercept form. As you can see, this is already y-intercept form. So next, I need to plot 3 points. There's different ways I can go about doing this. I can create a t-table with the points 1, 2, and 3. When I go to do this, I want to think of this as y equals x. We're going to kind of forget it has an inequality for now. So if x is 1, y is 1. If x is 2, y is 2, and so on. So those are my 3 points. Next, so I've done y-intercept form. I've plotted the 3 points. Now I need to decide if it's a solid or dashed line. Well, this is y is less than x. So it's not less than or equal to, so it's going to be a dashed line. So as best I can, I continue this all the way down to create a dashed line. All right, so now that that's done, this is what's very different about inequalities. We have to pick a point to check for shading. So I want to ignore this, and I'm going to pick a point. I might pick a point like 0, 1. I know that's right here. So let's plug those points in. X is 0, and y is 1. So let's ask if that makes sense. Is 0 greater than 1? No. So I know points on that side of the line won't work. Let's check the other side. Let's check the point over here, 2, 1. If I use the original inequality, I'm checking for the point 2, 1. If x is 2 and y is 1, is 2 greater than 1? Yes. So I know I'm going to shade this side of the graph. Pause the movie, copy down the problem and the steps for graphing this inequality. Now try this one on your own. Remember, you need to put it in y-intercept form first. Pause the movie, try it on your own, and then we'll check your answer to see how you did. So the first step is to put it in y-intercept form. To put it in y-intercept form, I have to subtract an x from both sides. So this is going to be y is less than negative x minus 2. Now I'm going to plot 3 points. I'm not going to do the t-table for this one. I'm going to use the equation of a line. So I'm going to pretend this is y equals negative x minus 2. When dealing with this, we know to start at the y-intercept, which is negative 2. In this case, the slope is negative 1, which means I'm going to drop 1, run 1, drop 1, and run 1. Since this is less than, I know it's a dotted line. So if I continue with this, it's going to be a dashed line across. Now, it's time to check for which side of the line I'm going to shade. So, let's plug some numbers in. I'm going to pick this point, 0, 0. Let's plug it in. 0 plus 0, because x is 0 and y is 0, less than negative 2. Is 0 plus 0 less than negative 2? No. So I know that the numbers on this side of the graph won't work. So it must be the numbers on this side of the line. Check your work and make any corrections you might need to. Try this one on your own. Put it in y-intercept form, graph, check a point, and shade. Play the movie when you're done to check your work. Let's see how you did. To put this in y-intercept form, we have a lot of steps to do. First, I need to move x to the other side. So I'm going to have negative 2y less than negative 2x plus 4. Now I have to divide everything through by negative 2 because I need y to be by itself. If you recall, when we deal with inequalities and we multiply everything through by a negative, the sign of the inequality changes. So this is actually going to be y greater than, these cancel, negative 2 divided by a negative 2 is a positive 1. So that's going to be y is greater than x. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. So x minus 2. I'm going to go ahead and change this problem a bit because I want us to see what it's going to be like if it's a less than or equal to. This shouldn't affect your answer too much. So now, because I divided everything through by a negative, the signs change, and this becomes a very easy equation to solve. I'm going to go ahead and put a point on the y-intercept, which is negative 2. My slope is 1. I rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. Now, because it is greater than or equal to, it's no longer a dashed line, but it is a solid line. Now that I have this solid line, I need to decide if I'm going to shade on the top part or the bottom. So let's pick a point to try. Let's pick a very simple point like 0, 0. If I plug that into the equation, I have 0 greater than or equal to 0 minus 2, which says that 0 is greater than or equal to negative 2. That, in fact, is true, so I would shade this entire part of the graph. Now you try these on your own. Bring your answers to class tomorrow.